Okay. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Spiceteria Woman to Woman. I know it's different format. It's a different year. It's a new year. It's a new me. It's a new woman for us to meet, and we're just going to do things a little differently. You know what I noticed as we went through the year with our woman to woman Zooms is that more and more we had so many of you who were watching from your home, but not in the Zoom. So I thought, well, I don't want anyone to feel lonely and expect that there are going to be a lot of people in the Zoom. So I said, this will be great time for us to start an actual interview series. And you all are free and encouraged. Please make your comments known, just like you have been doing. Write them down, send them to us, and we will address your comments, your questions, your concerns. But let's just get started. So, wow, we've got, all right, you've got your thumb up. Thank you very much for that acknowledgement. Okay, so I'm here today or tonight with Kamilah Reid-Burrell. And Kamilah is doing this incredible project, and it's called Women's Work, the 40 plus edition. And so 40 plus edition, that means us, right? That's what Spiceteria is. It's women in their 40s and 50s. Most are professional, but they've all had they're going through either a pivot or just a phase in life where things are happening that they've never happened before. We're learning about ourselves. Kamilah, we've done series on menopause, on mental health, on career change, on so many things that are about us. And so I thought it would be amazing to introduce you to the Spiceteria community, because there are people, they're your people, right? They're exactly who you are interviewing. Yes. And who you're highlighting. Yes. And so I'm gonna read this bio. Sure. Right. Okay. So Kamilah is the content and program manager at Pearson. So now Pearson, is that the airport or is that another Pearson?
No, Pearson Education. We are a publishing company.
Publishing company. Okay. And so she is a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I am as well. So kindred spirits. Mm-hmm. And you've been leading the D&I charge at Pearson for over a year. And as we all can imagine, this year has been extra emotional with an intense need for real change. And that's something that we all share, because we've gotten to these places where it's no longer comfortable. We can no longer live under the radar, right? It's too emotional. It's almost prickly, right? In these conversations and these situations that we find ourselves in. And, it's so funny being of the generation we are. For so long, we kind of just went along with the get along, right? And we can't do that anymore. So Kamilah's working on a personal project. She'll be speaking to us about tonight. And she is sharing great experiences from women, all women, which is another reason why I thought Spiceteria would be great, because we are a very diverse group of women. And she's talking to women in Canada and the United States. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stop reading and start asking so you all can get to know Kamilah, and hopefully all of you who are watching, you will want to know more about Kamilah and she can get to know more about you. So let's just start with, how did you get here? Please share your journey. How did you get here?
Thank you. First off, of course, thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on this webinar, this series, this really important conversations that you're having with women. I would say that, as you mentioned, I work at Pearson. I've been in educational publishing for over 20 years, same industry. It's pretty much the only industry I've really belonged to. And I've come to realize in the last, year and a half that I don't really know a lot about other women's industries and other women's experiences. Publishing is a very insular community. We move from one company to another. I've been at McGraw, I've been at Nelson, but it's the same faces or the same types of people that I'm coming across. So I wanted to learn, how have other women navigated the glass ceiling and systemic discrimination. I wanted to know about how they found the time, the energy, the courage to go back to school or to launch their own businesses while juggling family obligations, partners, aging parents, all of that. So I started this project as a way to get to know new and inspiring women and to figure out what I want for myself work to look like in my 40s and 50s. So by removing what I call the miscellaneous from my life, my social life, carpooling and date night, 2020 has really afforded me the opportunity to take the time to try to answer these questions. But it's also made traditional relationship building, networking, if you will, opportunities really scarce. And I've got to say, I am an introvert. So honestly, the idea of wandering around some conference hall filled with strangers trying to find my in on sort of surface conversations has never appealed to me. I've never engaged in that sort of thing. It's not who I am as an individual. I'm deeply curious and I want to have real conversations. I came up with this project as a way to talk to women about themselves, but in a way that's natural, and it just sort of, it is very much like a conversation between friends who haven't talked in a while. And I just want to know what happened? We're in our 40s, 50s, beyond now. What have you been up to? How have you been navigating the world, your professional life? I know your parents or your children are all different. How have you planned for this stage in your life? What have you learned about yourself? If you could go back, what would you tell yourself, your young self who won't listen anyway, but what would you tell her if you could? So yeah, this project is really a way for me to pair my love of learning with my love of information and my need to figure out what's next for me. And ultimately, I'd like to share what I learn with the broader community. If nothing else, I have already learned that women are very much yearning to tell their stories, to talk about their
Absolutely,
to hand that knowledge down, right? So
yeah, life is all about stories, right?
This is it. Yes. Yeah. But I think a lot of us, especially those of us in the corporate world, we're very much asked to park our stories at the door when we enter the building and put on this professional persona that is, she's unemotional, she's productive, she's a robot, and then pick it back up on our way out the door to pick the kids up for soccer and make dinner and also try to enrich our own lives through whatever it is we love to do. So I'm trying to marry the two and say, this is the whole thing. This is the things about me that are not considered to be a part of my professional persona are the things that very much inform how I make decisions, how I look at information, the things I think are important, the things that are important to me. And I think, a lot of women want to be able to do that in their professional lives.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think that, and especially.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Oops. Oh dear. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can be heard. Am I frozen? Hold on, everyone. I do not know what the technical background of this platform is. It's called StreamYard. Hopefully, Kimberly will be back up and running shortly. Oh, she's dropped. Okay. Well, Uh, that is not an outcome that I prepared for, if you could believe that. Oh dear. Let's see if she will log back in pretty quickly here. Let's give her 30 seconds. Okay, so it looks like I'm on my own for a little while. Hopefully, Kimberly will be able to rejoin us. But in the meantime, one of the questions that Kimberly asked me to consider was what the best part of my project has been so far. So just sort of to add some detail, I am, oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm back. Jackie said she'll be back.
Okay, good. Oh, I'm so glad. I was just going to charge on, but yes.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did.
We're in the midst of responding to my comments about what brought me to this journey.
Yes. And so what I was saying is that, especially right now, and I totally agree with you. I hate going to those I've always hated those networking receptions, let's have cocktails, but you really can't have cocktails because you have to be alert, right? Because you have to meet these people that you don't know. And then there's always a group of people who've known each other for years, yes. Right? And so there are all these little groups and you have to figure it out. So I think while we're in the middle of this COVID situation, one of the best things is that I've got to meet new people. I've been introduced to new people. I've heard new stories, and it's just been so enriching. It's
about the limitations too of geography, right? Like I'm meeting people all over the world.
They're gone. It doesn't matter. You're in Toronto. Yeah. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I'm looking at the people who are watching. We've got Chicago, South Orange, New Jersey. I mean, nice. Everyone is everywhere, which is so amazing.
Yes. So, I think too, one of the challenges of those sort of more traditional networking events is transitioning from that. We had a great conversation at that event, but you also met 30 other people in that moment. And I'm the one with the red shirt. And, I'd love to talk further, but the demand is you're not as a participant really in control of who is approaching you and what sorts of things you're talking about. So in this way, for example, the women I'm interviewing, I ask each one to please let me know the names of 3, 4, 7 women that you are inspired by, women that you find deeply interesting, who are doing exciting things with their lives, and let me know if they introduce me, and I will take the ball and run with it from there. But it affords me a level of almost screening to say that it's not, I'm not going to accidentally end up spending the evening with a raging racist who just covers it well at a cocktail party. You know what I mean? Like these are people who are being introduced to me by people I respect and admire, and these are the people they respect and admire. So it's just this sort of wonderful extension of what network means. It shouldn't be a random collection of people who don't really have any investment or buy-in to the relationships they're building. So it's been great.
Well, I think, this allows network to become even more like community.
Yes. Right? Yes.
Yeah. And that's what we all need. We all need more community, right? And so I talked about Spiceteria being this diverse community of women. I mean, they're just meeting you, and you've got encouragement, right? We've got people saying, Kamilah, you're handling this with grace. You got this. She'll be back. It's no problem. So that's what community is about, right? Yes. That's what women support women. No question. That's all it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And, we didn't grow up with that, I don't think. Oh, my hair's doing crazy stuff too. Like it's just something that I'm an only child, and I've always really, my relationships have meant something very special to me because I know a lot of people. I don't have a lot of friends.
Same. Very much the same. I mean, I have a brother and I always wished he was a sister, so I don't know if that counts, but my mom is, one of four sisters.
Mm,
And
mm,
so I grew up, and although my aunts all live in Trinidad, none came with, they were not down with this cold life.
yeah,
I grew up with a real understanding of the power of sisterhood, of being connected to and deeply caring for women. So the friendships that I have and some of my family relationships they sustain me. Without them, I don't know what life would really be. And I mean, we all, partner, whether your partner is same sex or not, a romantic relationship is different from what comes from a friendship and somebody who just really has, no agenda in it. It is just somebody who is there to root for you, and you do the same. And it's a beautiful thing.
it is. It is a sisterhood. It's a real sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so just on that point, and then we'll go back. I don't want to digress. I just want to say Happy Founders Day to all my sorors out there. So just had to get that in there because it's January 15th.
Okay.
I just need to do that. Sorry. But anyway, so let's get back to the questions, right? So, how can we help you with your project? Right. We're this amazing community.
Yeah. I mean, this moment, this opportunity, this session we're holding now is, I'm sure, going to be a big help. Like I've already seen quite a bit of traffic on my, personal LinkedIn page and all of that. I guess really I'd love to hear from some of the women who belong to this community, those, who are interested in having this conversation with me. I talk about, I think it's 5 themes. We talk about our careers. We talk about parenting, if you are a parent. We talk about our aging elders and what impact that has. We talk about relationships, and we talk about showing up and how we show up in the world. And it's really interesting, the things that already are almost universally true of the women I've interviewed, and then the ways that they differ. And the differences really are so, it's more about the specifics of your story. Some of us lost our parents early. Some of us have parents who are young and hale and still on the go and are not a consideration yet for us, and everything in between. So yeah, it's if there are women who are a part of this community who would love to participate in this project and sort of expand our knowledge base about what's going on with women in our 40s, 50s, and beyond, I'd love to hear from you.
All right, ladies. So we're over 1,100 strong in this community. So put it out there. If you are interested in sharing your story on those 5 areas, please DM me. We don't want to put anybody's private information out, but DM me and I will put you in contact with Kamilah. And we'll go back to that before we finish tonight. But I just wanted to put it out there because, as people are coming in and out, if you're here now, everyone in Spiceteria has an amazing story to tell. It's very different. And they cross, they zig, they zag. And I think they would be amazing stories to help you in your project. So ladies, I'm putting it out there. Don't let me down. Show up and show out. So let me, so you talked about some differences, but before we get to that, what's been the best part of this project so far for you?
Hands down, the conversations I'm having, including this one. I mean, this is, as I mentioned, I'm an introvert. So while I love the one-on-one, they're usually with people I have some relationship with already. Just a nature of being in the same industry for 20 odd years, etc. So I think I mentioned this to you before we went live, is that my mantra for this year is old ways don't open new doors. And I am 44, putting it out there. Hello world.
I'm putting it out there always.
Yeah, I'm ready to learn more about myself. I think in the last year, I have gained a better understanding of who I am and what I want to contribute to the world. So the best part of this has been having those conversations and seeing that mirrored in the women I'm talking to. You know, it's not unique to me. The women in the communities that I surround myself with and that my peers surround themselves with want to make meaningful, impactful, lasting impressions on the world. And I want to be a big part of that. And I find that, you know, even discussing and refining this project with you know my dearest and nearest has allowed me to reconnect with women that I haven't talked to in a while, but who immediately came to mind, you know, because now I had a reason. Like, I have myself 2 kids, and we have been in the fog of middle childhood where you really don't have the time or energy to maintain your relationships the way you should. And I'm COVID has at least given me a pause. I'm not sure that I'm at the end of that fog yet, but I've definitely been allowed this clearing in the fog, and this is what I want to do with that time.
Well, I think that's a chapter of itself, right? When you have, I even think about like my husband and I. So he has his best friend who's always been his best friend, and they talk on a regular basis. And I talk to my best friend when I can. And I've seen that some are okay with that because they have children, you know, they understand what it takes to be a working mom, wife, you know, all the things that we do. And some don't understand. And that's, as you get older, that circle gets a little smaller because of that. But not everyone has to go through that. So that's just another layer of being a woman, right? So, and as you get older, if you've moved or anything, you know, that support that is so important, we lose some of it.
Absolutely. And this is just sort of the village, right? Like, I talk a lot about having a village, and through the years, I've remained connected to a core group of people who, you know, one I met in daycare as a toddler, and you know, another I met through a high school friend, and so on. But you're right; those relationships have been the ones who have been able to survive drought, basically, and or they're just as happy to sit and watch a show and eat takeout, right? Like, I the thought of the dress up and the getting somewhere and the finding childcare and the this and the that, it was too much for a long time. So we are definitely in the social sphere, opening up to that again. But I mentioned to you earlier that 8 p.m. feels like midnight to me now, so I don't really know. So
there's no time. It's fluid. It's all fluid. I know.
But yeah, it's you know, like the conversations I'm having, the people I'm meeting, it is just phenomenal, and it's like a snowball effect, and it's just like you know, you said 1,100. I'm like, good God, I do not have the capacity to interview 1,100 women. But you know, if even a fraction of that would be a database, like an incredible, you know, we read articles all the time, and they've interviewed, you know, 3 women, and none of them represent the sort of stories and experiences you've had. But if I interview 70, does that then cover a much wider range of experiences? And will women see themselves reflected? And that's my hope.
And that's what it's about, right? It's about reflection. It's and you know, that's, we talk diversity, and this wasn't one of the questions, but we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and you know, we're in that space about equity and women, especially Black women, right? Like, we're always at the, you know, we're going to talk about that more tomorrow, but when you think about that space and you think it's not reflecting me.
That's right.
When you're working, and we talked about how we had to leave our feelings at the door, you walk into these environments and they're not reflective of you. You don't have, you can't see yourself. So as a result of that, you feel alone.
Absolutely.
You're in a room full of people, but you feel alone.
Absolutely.
And so that idea of being reflective and talking to enough people where you could see yourself
Mm-hmm.
and learn from someone else's story, because there is that reflection is so important.
Yeah.
That's why I started Spiceteria, because when I was deciding to make some changes from a corporate perspective,
Mm-hmm.
who I was going to be in this world, I talked to so many women.
Yeah.
Like I think I spent probably almost a year just talking to women, much like you're doing.
Yes.
And just realized, our stories, some of them are similar, some of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all women, and there's always a lesson in there somewhere. And oh my goodness, I feel so much better now that we've had this conversation.
Yes.
That's what Spiceteria is about, right? We all bring our own story, our own spice, our own whatever it is that makes us who we are.
Yes.
But it's never a fabulous recipe until you bring it all together, right?
That's exactly it. And I had a conversation earlier this week, and it was one where, somebody was basically just reaching out to see how I was doing. And this is not, a close personal friend, and this wasn't related to the project. And it was a conversation about some difficult feelings and experiences I've been having, and just having her validate. Yeah, I see that happening to you. It has happened to me. It was so meaningful. It was really just it was very touching. Like, she knew that she couldn't help in this specific situation, but she did. She helped just because I was that much less alone. Like, I knew that somewhere out there, I could pick up the phone and tell her about my day, and she'd be like, yeah, that was a crummy day. I get it, and even that is of such value and power for women who are often asked to sort of stuff down our feelings, just, chin up, stiff up her lip, and keep on marching, right? And it's not, it is a very masculine, Eurocentric worldview that a person is somehow devoid of their emotions at work or in professional settings,
or in any setting, like, and that's the whole thing of being a strong woman, right? That whole idea of, if you're a strong woman, you can take on anything.
Yes.
And it dehumanizes you.
Absolutely.
Because people feel like, oh, you're a strong woman, you dealt with this, oh, you're a strong woman, you dealt with that. But because we are human, we could deal with a lot of things, but we are human, and people forget that. So they just continue to pile on.
Exactly.
Right. And, oh, you're Superwoman. And that whole idea of you can have it all, or you're Superwoman, has been killing women.
Absolutely.
Because the stress and it's definitely something that's really important to talk about, because you can be strong, but you're not inhuman.
And also the notion that you don't owe your strength to anybody. You know what I mean? I am strong because of my experiences, what I have, survived, what I've been through. I don't owe you that strength. If we have a relationship and I choose to lend you my shoulder, great. But especially in professional spaces, to say, she's tough, she can, absolutely not. You are not paying me to be tough, sir. You are paying me to do this particular job. And therefore, you can't use that as an excuse to abuse people, right? In a sense, or create a toxic environment that you won't resolve, because you know what? If anybody can deal with this difficult person or situation or whatever, it's her, because she's strong. No, you need to resolve that situation and create a productive and safe environment for everybody, even the strong ones. That's right. Yeah.
Well, because that strength, as strong as you are inside, because of the stressors,
yes.
You could be just falling apart inside.
Mm-hmm.
But someone said, we tend to make things look easy. We also tend to look good while we're falling apart.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
We have to show up, and we have to,
yes.
pull it together. As you've been talking to the women that you've spoken to, what has surprised you? Have there been some ahas or some really surprise moments?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've touched on it already, but I have been surprised by the similarity of experiences so far. And it doesn't matter if you are high up on the corporate ladder, or if you are a freelancer, an entrepreneur, a stay-at-home mom. The the women I'm interviewing have had very similar perspectives as a result of their experiences, and feel almost to the person deeply responsible for the wider community. Now, how they choose to meet that responsibility varies, right? Like, so it depends where you're naturally inclined, or whatever. But the social responsibility across the board has made itself clear among these women. And I would also say that I'm a bit surprised. I thought I was the only one who never imagined life beyond 40, and that is almost universally the experience.
Yeah.
A lot of you. I'm sure you also remember. You plan. I get married, and I'm going to have some kids. I'm going to have a job. I'm going to you have these things that once you're established as an adult, an independent adult, we then, I think, turn to retirement as the next thing we think about. Like, there's this gap of 25 years where we're not goal setting in the same way for ourselves. We're not milestoning. We're not, taking time to say, "Ooh, I'm on the wrong path. I've got to not in a concerted way, not in an intentional way," right? Like, a lot of us are changing and pivoting in response to our current situations versus I woke up and I have a dream to be a pilot, and I'm just going to go for it. And I'm happy in my life now, but I think I can do more. I think I can do something different. That isn't so much the response I'm getting. It is more of I didn't really think about what work would look like in my 50s or my 40s. I have come to the place I am in response to what I've learned, for sure. All of those, the work that we did in our 20s and 30s are informing the choices we're making in our 40s and 50s. But to say that we had a vision for what we thought this period in our life would look like, not so much. No, not really.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we put a lot of energy into getting to that career, mm-hmm. right? And then we put a lot of energy into getting the promotions that we think we should get. And, some of us do and some of us don't. And for whatever reason, we put a lot of energy into, if we have the kids, we've got mm-hmm. the career. Now we've got to put the focus on the kids. And and I think that we also kind of get stuck in that space where we are, because it almost feels like, because we have to do so much, it almost feels like that's the one thing we can control or we can hold on to, right? And so, unfortunately, like, I remember being younger and people said, "What do you do?" Right? Like, that was the first thing they'd ask you, "What do you do?" And, for a while, I'd say, "I just have a little hustle," because I thought, why are you asking me what I do? You didn't even ask me what my last name was. What does it matter what I do?
Yes.
Nothing to do, right? Like, that just upset me. And so I would talk about that. I'm like, I'm not what I do. I am Kimberly, and I'm not what I do. And why are you so worried about what you do?
Yes.
You're not your title.
Yes.
But then after you're doing it for so long and the other things are coming at you, that's the one thing that
yes.
right? So you hold on to that. And then the longer you hold on to it, the more you are afraid to move off of it.
Absolutely.
So you get stuck by your own issues.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And then you're like, oh, well, I can't stop because now we've got to pay for schools and we got to do this, we have to do that. Right. And it's that, I think that's part of the stress that goes into the burnout.
Absolutely.
Right? And women are like, wait, I've had my head down for so long. Wait, I'm waking up. What happened? Where am I?
This is it. It's I think, probably one of the symptoms of this whole superwoman, illness, right? It's that while you're busy being strong for and preparing your family, and you're, professionally showing up and showing out, like proving yourself in these spaces, you don't actually have the time or the energy. Speaking for myself,
the energy.
Just sit down and figure it out, right? Like, honestly, I think I spent a good, 2 years trying to convince myself that being content was okay, right? Like, I don't have to do like more. I don't have to be, fully engaged and like raring to go every day. I can just keep doing this.
But you could not.
Fine, but I could not. I could not convince myself. So yeah, it's a phase, I think, too, and especially the women who know that they should have progressed further in their careers than they have. You start to internalize the message that you are not worthy, right? That you are doing the work you're doing because that's the best you can do, and you internalize that message, and it's hard to shed that, right? It takes a real effort, and effort takes energy, and energy takes time, and all of these things circle back to, women in our 40s and 50s. We have a lot of years to give. We have a lot, and the benefit that we bring of our experience is incalculable, right? Like just the 20 years of experience I have, the things I've done, seen, experienced, these things bring so much to the table, and I haven't perhaps accounted for that, and I haven't given myself credit for that, and that changes now.
Yeah, I mean it's our time. I don't know who said this. Let me check. Linda said, hashtag now is our time.
Yes.
And that is true. Yes, Linda.
Yes.
And let's see. Yes. And she also said, let's show up and show out for ourselves. And I'm all about that. Let's show up and show out for us.
Yes. Right? Yes. Because I think about it too. If this is what I can do, running at half speed and kind of deflated and demoralized, what could I do at full with a full tank? I cannot even fathom what would be possible if women were given the freedom to just go. We trust you, we believe in you, we know you can do this. What could we do?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is something that I wish we could have that in the companies that we've given so many years to, right? Because some people have been at their companies forever, right? And started there out of college, and they've been there, and they're at this point where they're not getting that. So we have to move on, right? If people don't value us, we cannot be afraid to move on. When I left corporate America, it happened so quickly because there were a lot of things happening, and I knew what I wanted to do eventually, but I wasn't ready to make that move. But once I made the move and I took the time to have the conversations and to start every day, I believed a little bit more in what, and I actually started to remember a little bit more of the things that I thought, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it was frightening, but I said, I want to create community. I want to use my experience and my passion, for this business. And I want to have a media company, and I want to have a content company, and I want to influence culture. And when I would tell people that, they look at me like, how are you going to make money from that? They would ask me, how are you going to make money? Yes. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Do I owe you money?
Right.
How much do I owe you? Right? And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, why are you worried about my life?
Your problem. Yes.
Let me get to where I want to go. And I'm sure, like, I just had this faith. It's going to come together. And if it doesn't come together, then I still have those skills and I can do what I need to do with them. But that takes a village. It takes having the support. It takes having the Spiceteria community, at your back all the time. That's what lifts you up. To have that type of sisterhood and community for people to say, you know what, go for what you want to do. Don't forget it. Because I think that's the case too. We get in this world that it's like this, hate to say hamster wheel.
Absolutely.
But it is a hamster wheel.
Absolutely. Yes.
And then you forget what you used to enjoy and what your dreams were.
And one thing I have to add that has surprised me and thrilled me is that as we age, our risk tolerance, we are willing. I was surprised to find this out and thrilled, because I thought it only added, fuel to my fire, that yes, like, we're less afraid now in our 40s and beyond than we were. And I thought the opposite would be true. I thought, like, you're now, you are committed to whatever financial life you've built for yourself, or you're committed to, whatever comforts and etc. you have. But the truth is, no, I think having lived with these things for however long you have, by your 40s and 50s, there's a recognition that this is all material and really, at the end of the day, inconsequential. I love my shoes, they're great, but do I need to have to, like, would the world fall apart if I couldn't buy anything I want at any moment? Probably not. Our baselines are covered. Do I have a roof? Do I have food? I think we're turning our attention away from the material, and towards the internal, and where am I finding value within the work I'm doing, and what I'm contributing to the wider world.
Absolutely. So we have 4 minutes left. We have been talking. This has been amazing.
I'm so glad.
Yes, I'm so excited. So, we have so many comments, and we have some new hashtags that I think we need to continue.
Okay.
So the last one is, you only go around the block once. So hashtag, you only go around the block once.
Yeah.
So remember that. Let's rock our potential, right? Let's women,
right?
Let's rock our potential, right? And moving on is the best thing ever.
Yes. I love these. I am definitely adding those to, I'm going to have to link to this somehow, some way. That's one downside of venturing out into this wide new world, is all the technology you have to learn, but I'm perfectly capable of it. I will figure it out. I have a 15-year-old. It will be fine. So,
yeah, that's right. God bless the 15-year-olds. God bless the 15-year-olds. Yes. So Kamilah, if women want to get in touch with you, they can get in touch with me, right? Yeah. Obviously get in touch with me, but how can they get in touch with you?
I would say probably LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, this is, my name there, and that would be the easiest way for us to at least, get a sense of each other. I don't mind giving out my personal email on this platform. Kamilah RB, R for Reid, B for Burrell, at gmail.com. But if you don't feel comfortable with me necessarily having your direct contact and want LinkedIn as that middleman, same name on LinkedIn, Kamilah Reid-Burrell.
Awesome. So listen, guys. So this has been amazing. So thank you very much. This is our new format. So you'll find us here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, so I don't know if you all know. So yeah, you should know. So I do woman to woman. So here's my new schedule for 2021. Woman to woman, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. And it's with Spiceteria group. Then on Thursday mornings at 11, I do LinkedIn Live. And so Kamilah is going to join me tomorrow on LinkedIn Live. She'll be with me and Deb. If you have any questions that you didn't have answered, or you want to hear more about this amazing project, join us tomorrow, LinkedIn Live, 11 o'clock. And then starting in February, it's not like I don't have enough to do. Starting in February, on February 16th, I believe February 24th, KLM Live is launching. So more information on that, but I'm super excited about KLM Live. But lots in store for 2021. And what a great kickoff. Thank you, Kamilah, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to becoming a part of this community and seeing all that you do.
Oh, it's fun. And we're there for us. We're there for each other. Women support women is our motto. Hashtag women support women, period, the end. And I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone else, take care. Have a wonderful night. And thanks for joining. See you later. Okay, if I can.